Hi guys, welcome to another episode of On the Block. I'm your host, Paul. You know me as the Black AK. There's been so many issues of what you could do with Bitcoin. People use it for utility, trading, thought of value. But have you ever thought of traveling? With me here on the show today is Anuja with Travel with Bitcoin. How are you today?
Thank you, Paul.
Awesome.
I'm great. And actually, the tagline for Travel with Bitcoin is experience your sats.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Yay.
Experience your SAT.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't actually introduce you as Anuja, but I feel you'll be a better person to tell us about yourself,
Sure.
your role with Travel Bitcoin, and how
Mhm.
you got into the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to tell you about this. So I'm actually Indian, born in India, but my parents moved to Canada when I was very young, which is the American accent. So I grew up in Canada. And from a professional perspective, I've been in the tech space for about 7 years. I
Okay.
worked at Microsoft, not as a developer or programmer by any means. I was on the sales side.
Oh, nice.
So I was helping my clients actually adopt technology. I was helping them use technology to solve business problems. And I
Cool.
absolutely loved what I did. But I realized that there is more to life than just climbing the corporate ladder. And traveling is a big passion of mine. It's something that I love to do. Unfortunately, I found that same passion in my husband as well.
Okay.
So both of us had a plan to take some time off of our corporate lives
Oh,
and travel.
awesome.
And so we made that decision August of 2023. And that's where we decided we're going to sell our home, we're going to quit our jobs. It was a pretty big, risky move.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Sell your home, quit your jobs.
Yes.
That's
But
a
it
risky one.
wasn't, it is. And it wasn't just like, we're going to do it. Like, it definitely required a lot of planning
Okay.
and obviously saving.
Okay.
And we saved in the best way we could.
I think we all know the best way to go. So,
But yeah, it was definitely risky. It was like I was getting a lot of anxiety about it, but no regrets. So we started our travels in August of 2023, and one of the goals we had was also trying to understand how Bitcoin is being used outside of the West. And to give you a little bit more background from a Bitcoin perspective, I would say my husband, kudos to my husband. He definitely influenced me quite a bit.
shout out to the husband, by the
Yeah,
way.
and he goes by Student of Bitcoin on all social media, if you're
So,
curious. Student of Bitcoin.
he is student of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I follow that page.
Yeah, that's him.
And who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah. So I would say he fell in, not he fell, but he was in his Bitcoin rabbit hole for like 7, 8 years. For me personally, I would say I was pretty new at this point into the Bitcoin space when we started our travels. But I think what made it real for me is when we were visiting different countries and different communities and speaking with the Bitcoin circular
Bitcoin, yeah.
economies and seeing how Bitcoin was being used. I think it's very different when you see videos or if you're behind a screen, and you
Okay.
read on X what's happening or you see videos. Yes, that's all cool. But I think when you're in person and you see the transaction happening, you talk to the merchants, you talk to the business owners of how, accepting Bitcoin is actually helping them, why they prefer
Why they're
Bitcoin,
using it, yeah.
just like understanding that. And then also, I think talking to a lot of the younger generations, the students in a lot of these countries, and the unfortunate situation that they're in because of their currency. Again, it just made it real for me. And I think that's where the connection happened, where Bitcoin is solving real problems. And I'm a problem solver. So that
I
was to me like,
see.
wow, like this is amazing.
This is what you need as
This
a
is what
problem
we
solver.
need. Exactly.
Honestly, I wanted to tie into what you said about how the once someone is able to transition from their thinking from Bitcoin just being a means of spending cash, but into a technology that solves a whole lot more than just finances, you actually realize that your perception of
Changes.
Bitcoin opens and it changes. And you just spoke about how you started and how you got into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
In case you guys did not understand the message, she was straight trying to say it means get married to a Bitcoiner. That's one of the first and easiest way to get into
Wait,
the
Paul,
industry.
does this mean you're single?
Now, how did you guys say, you know what? Let's start travel with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Okay. So again, coming back to the problem solving, right? So when we were traveling, and so our travels pretty much, we did a little bit of Europe, but our goal was to do Africa.
Hmm.
Both of us have never been to Africa before. It was just
Oh,
unseen, and we have so much curiosity. So we wanted to do Cairo all the way to Cape Town, but we wanted to do it by foot, or on the road.
on the road,
In
Cairo to Cape Town.
Cairo to Cape Town. So pretty much
Wow.
from
Okay.
north to south.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we stayed mostly on the east side.
Okay.
And we were constantly looking for businesses that accepted Bitcoin because we wanted to spend Bitcoin,
yeah.
right? And that way we could also meet like-minded individuals. We can understand what's happening in the community. So obviously we used things like BTC maps. We
Yeah.
used, our connections that we already had on Twitter. We relied on kind of like word of mouth, like,
Okay.
hey, I know this person in Uganda. Can you introduce me to someone in Zambia? Can you introduce me to someone in Malawi? So that's what we ended up doing for
nice.
pretty much a year. And
How many countries were you guys able to cover?
so in Africa, we did 10 countries.
Yo,
Yeah.
I'm African and I've not been to 10 African countries. Jeez.
It was amazing. Like the people, the food, the culture, the landscapes, the scenery, the wildlife. Like,
It's amazing.
it's amazing. I don't want to leave.
Is it?
No, literally, I don't want to leave.
That's crazy. Like I said, I'm African and I've not been to 10 African countries.
Yeah.
And you are doing it
Well,
with Bitcoin and
Now you can with Bitcoin.
awesome.
So sort of kind of going back to, how the travel of Bitcoin initiated. I think as we were doing the travels, we realized that, I realized, like it wasn't easy. It was challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't seamless, like it
Obviously.
wasn't, because it's like a niche of a niche. You're trying to find businesses that even understand Bitcoin and accept Bitcoin, but businesses in the tourism space.
Yes.
It's very niche,
Yes.
right? But honestly, we did find several businesses that
Okay.
are in the tourism business, tourism industry, that do prefer Bitcoin. So that kind of got me thinking that, okay, well, if there is, 7 to 8 businesses, across Africa, there has to be more in Central America, in South America, in Asia. Like, there has to be these businesses that are wanting to accept Bitcoin that are in the tourism space.
Awesome.
So we're like, okay, well, why don't we come up with a marketplace where travelers, they want to spend their sats, they want to, use Bitcoin to get some sort of an experience,
Okay.
and we can connect them with tour operators globally that not only accept Bitcoin, but they prefer Bitcoin. So we want tour operators that, one, verified, trusted tour operators that have a unique story of why they prefer Bitcoin. And then that got me thinking, Bitcoin is a very much a kind of a community mindset, right?
Yes.
We love to help each other
Yes.
out. So why don't we create this global network of tour operators that can learn from each other,
I see.
right? So since I'm bringing all these amazing like-minded people together,
Mhm.
we're in one niche.
Okay.
Why don't we use our platform to actually communicate with each other? Let's learn, let's share best practices, let's ask questions, and let's share referrals, because
Yes.
at the end of the day, we're all businesses.
Yes.
And if someone visited Uganda and they're going to maybe South Africa next, that tour operator can get connected to whoever that tour operator is in South Africa.
Taking away all the uncertainties or the challenges that may be faced with new travelers experiencing new places at the first time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, you guys should change. I think you guys should probably re-edit it and say travel with Bitcoin. What word will I use now? Because you're currently filling a niche that is actually very important in the tourism space, and it's not just being Bitcoin alone. You guys are becoming a what's this? There's this platform they use in booking flights. Is it Expedia?
There's Expedia, there's Booking.com.
Yes.
There's actually a few for crypto.
You guys are becoming that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's a
So-
place you can actually head into.
Yeah, and again, we're Bitcoin only, obviously. But if you look at, like, I think there's Travela, there's D-Travel, which again do accept crypto, but they're just playing middleman, where they take whatever coin you have and then they convert it and
Convert
just
it,
pay
yeah.
in fiat
Yeah.
to the. But we don't want to be that. We want to connect you to actual businesses that know and understand why
Why.
Bitcoin. And then to take it one step further, since we met so many amazing communities as we were traveling, and the community leaders do a lot of work to keep these communities
Working,
growing.
yeah.
And anytime we visited a new country and got in touch with these community leaders, they spent so much time with us to take us around, to show us different businesses, to show us education initiatives, just to give us a understanding of what's happening from a Bitcoin perspective. So we're like, we also want to highlight these amazing individuals. So if you actually go on our marketplace, you can get connected to our tour operator if you want like a really cool tourism experience. So that
Awesome.
could be like a safari, but it could be an adventure sport. It could be any travel related activity that you would
Awesome.
want to
I
do.
think I'll be interested in the adventure sports.
Yeah. We actually went whitewater rafting in Zambia using Bitcoin,
Wow.
which is never something I would have
As-
imagined. But we also want to highlight these community leaders, so you can actually go on our marketplace and see who the community leaders are in most of these countries, get connected with them, learn about their organization.
So that means there's a website available for this already,
There
and that's what
is travelwithbitcoin.com.
.com. Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
All right. So you've said you've been in Africa. You had 10 countries.
Yes.
I am interested to know what's your worst experience
Oh,
traveling this
yes.
time. Just to mention one word, and you'll also tell us your best experience in
Okay.
NFA travels.
Let's start with the worst, yeah? Again, as I was saying, we did everything on the road, so we took buses. And that also made me realize how large Africa actually is. Like, getting from one country to another can take a very long time on the road. So I think one of our, I guess, not ideal incident or experience was when we were taking a bus from, it was actually from Kenya to Uganda. This is back last December actually.
Okay.
And we read online that you should take this one specific bus, it's trusted, but unfortunately we didn't book on time, and that bus wasn't available for the next 3 days.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're like, whatever, we'll just take the
another
next
bus.
one. And as we're taking the next, and you get on the bus and you're like, okay, this looks not ideal, but it's okay, we'll be fine. It's all about the experience. And then and it's overnight.
Wow.
So middle of the night, I started hearing this weird, just something weird,
Okay.
you can hear something outside because my window was open. And I'm like, then I wake up my husband, I'm like, listen, I feel like something is broken or something is wrong. I keep hearing this weird noise. And then finally, I think the driver heard it too, so they stopped. And then literally it's a pitch dark, there's no lights, there's oncoming traffic, we're just parked on the side, and these guys are doing something to the bus, and I have no idea what's happening.
Wait, you're doing on the bus while the bus is moving, or
No,
they have to
they
stop
stopped,
to
they
they stop to repair the bus?
No,
Okay.
they stopped. But then I started smelling a lot of gasoline, and I'm like, this is some scary shit. But we had no choice but to get back on the bus because
Yes.
it was in the middle of nowhere.
You chose the bus, might as well just ride it.
And my heart is just I was so interested. So then after, from that point till the border, we had to take the bus because we couldn't get off. But as soon as we got to the border, we're like, we are not going back on this bus because I don't want the bus to explode or anything. Because I literally, this gasoline smell was so strong. And honestly, that's not, if you think about some horror stories that people have had when they travel, this is not that bad.
It's not that bad, but at the same time, it could get worse.
It could get worse.
So that's for your worst experience. Then what's the best experience?
But I do want to say, I think for people that are wanting to travel Africa, I think, there's a lot of this scare of things being robbed or whatever, people not being nice or anything like that. I just want to say, never once did that happen to us. People were extremely nice. Yeah, obviously, they'll come and they'll be like, let me help you. And, that will happen because they see you as a foreigner. But everyone was so nice. And and thankfully, had no issues when it comes to our phones or things.
Africa is pretty safe actually.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people complain about Africa not being safe, but when you compare the number of shootings that happen in the West and compared to how many shootings happens, they're like,
no,
it's a no-brainer.
Exactly. We felt very safe anywhere we went at night, whatever it was.
Awesome. So your best experience?
Okay. My gosh, best experience.
There's so many.
There's so many. Best experience, I would have to say one of my top one was we went gorilla trekking
with
in Uganda with
Gorilla
Gorilla
Sass.
Sats.
That's Brendan, right?
That's Brendan and Afan. We were in Uganda for a couple of months actually, and we ended up our trip doing the gorilla trekking, and it was unbelievable how close you get to the gorillas and how much work they put in training, and making sure that the gorillas are okay with
With
humans being
humans,
around
yeah.
them. But like the
Hold up, sorry.
experience
I'm trying
was,
to picture you in the jungle right now.
oh my god, it was amazing. Like, and they're very strict, eh? Like you can only 1 hour.
Okay.
Like they don't overburden the gorillas at all, and there's 2 trackers per gorilla family.
Okay.
So they kind of always know where the gorillas
Are,
are.
yeah.
So when the guests are ready, our security guard communicates with the trackers where they are. Like the whole experience was amazing.
Awesome.
They teach you about like the whole process, how it takes 4 or 5 years before you can even have a family ready for something like this.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, for a gorilla family.
I think I should have Brendan in one of these interviews
Oh
too,
my,
so he
yes,
could talk
you
about Gorilla
should.
Sats.
Yeah,
I will
it
ring
was
you on.
definitely like a unique experience. And like the cool thing about also this is that you can only really experience this in Uganda, Rwanda, or Congo, right?
Yeah.
And so
Because that's the
that's
tropical
where
side
the
of the
gorillas
West.
are. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so happy like we're able to have this conversation. We're rounding up very soon.
Yeah.
And I have 2 more questions. And that's first of all is when are you coming to Nigeria?
Hopefully soon. We didn't get to come around this time, but I feel like this is not our last time in Africa.
Sure.
So we'll be back, and
Okay.
then you're from Nigeria.
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. You gotta first find me some tour operators.
No problem. I am. I would be a tour operator for you. No problem.
Perfect. So we'll have Paul listed on Travel with Bitcoin, and
Yep.
then I'll come spend some spots with
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. Nigeria is an amazing place. I know.
Yeah.
And you should try it out. Trust me.
I
You'll enjoy it.
will.
All right. So, and the final question is: I know a lot of people who are watching this particular program, most especially this channel, is dedicated to people who want to get into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Those who want to hear about founders, how they got started, and the challenges they face, and all of that. So, I would like for you to just give a word of advice: how to get started, what to do, and
You know what I would say? If you find that there is a problem in your community or in your industry or even your family or friends, we're on a daily basis, we are faced with problems,
Yes.
right? So if you see something that you're passionate about, that you just really want to solve, think about how you can use Bitcoin as a tool
Okay.
to solve that problem. Like another example I can give you is that when we were in Uganda, what we realized was that there were a lot of fresh fruits there,
Okay.
but we didn't see, fresh juice at an affordable price.
Okay.
So we actually opened up a juice shop.
Juicy B?
Juicy B.
Oh, you guys
We're Juicy B.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that was another example of, an idea that we had. We're trying to solve a problem for the community. We want to provide healthy juice to the community where you're not paying, something that an average person can afford.
Yeah.
And you can pay in Bitcoin. So we're able to sort of educate people about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
While we use kind of juice as the channel of doing
Channel
it,
of doing it,
which kind
yeah.
of gets your guard down, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm just getting juice. Oh, and I can pay in Bitcoin. What's
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin? Tell me more about it. So yeah, just see how you can solve problems.
I mean-
Use Bitcoin as a tool.
This has been an amazing interview because now I got to meet students of Bitcoin,
Yeah,
got to learn about GCB,
yeah.
spoke about Brendan. We've literally traveled the whole of Africa in
Yeah.
just sitting down in this conversation. So I want to thank you once again, Anuja, for joining me.
Thank you for having
And
me.
I mean, we'll definitely post this video up and try to share with everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another amazing episode. I'm sure you've learned a lot, and I'm sure you've understood a lot and ready to get started on your Bitcoin journey. It's Paul. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Thank you.